All right, hello, hello. It's Wednesday and we're here with Ricky, our favorite Wednesday character of all history that's ever lived. You have a lot of fans at the Moira Press, you know.
Well, I mean, it means that I take it as it means that they have an appreciation of the art.
Yeah.
Because I'm the kind of person that even as a football player, it's like once I started playing football, I was 100% into mastering it.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know, I have a great appreciation for the astrological art and feel like it's my duty to honor it as much as I can. And I think people who appreciate that probably be fans of mine.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be surprised at who one of your biggest fans is. It's
Really?
it's my mom.
Seriously?
Yeah, and I have to show you this. Okay, so this is crazy that I got called a racist at the Portland School of Astrology because when you meet my mom here, I'm going to show you a little bit about my mom. She was the mayor of my town for 25 years, and she's a sun in Libra in the 11th house. Okay. And her sun is sextile a bunch of Leo planets in the ninth house and trying a bunch of Gemini planets in the seventh house. But it's just like I'm telling you, I grew up with a mother who was like a freedom, like a equality fighter. You know what I mean? And then my dad,
Yeah.
an astrophysicist. But okay, I have to show you this. My mom specifically told me to tell you that she loves you on the show and that you're doing great work. And so,
Oh,
oh, I don't know how to share on this computer. Oh, darn. Okay, I'm gonna find this on the phone. Okay, have you ever heard of the guy Philando Castile?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so I hear my mom talk about him a lot, but I really didn't know who he was. So I thought I'd look him up since my mom's all up in your grill. Okay, so look at this. The St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation turning tragedy into healing. This is my mom. Okay, this is my mom right, this lady right there. That's my mom.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. The Philando Castile Peace Garden is a true example of how new life can flourish in a dark place. The site where Philando Castile lost his life at the hands of the police for a broken taillight now serves as the location of a beautiful garden created in his memory. So my mom
Oh,
has been the leader of the Philando Castile Peace Garden, and I didn't even understand what it was, but I guess a guy was killed she was the mayor of my town for 20 years. This guy was killed by police brutality in Falcon Heights, and they made a peace garden for it. It says in
oof.
response to his death, community members, local politicians, and the Castile family came together to establish the Friends of the Philando Castile Peace Garden. Anyway, I just think this is so cool. So these people are watching our show, actually, the Philando Castile people.
I mean, it's kind of off topic, but not so much. But that the idea of turning tragedy into something positive, like I don't know. For me, I think maybe that's the purpose of tragedy.
Really? You think that's why God created tragedy?
Uh-huh. Yeah. To help us appreciate how strong we are, how resilient we are. And it's to build character. And I don't just mean character building so that we are good people. I mean character building so that we can accomplish more.
Interesting. That's it. So we can do more good work on
Exactly. Because if you think of what stops people from doing good work, right, is they're afraid something bad's going to happen.
Interesting.
So,
That's so cool that you say that because last night I was talking to my boyfriend about death and like why death exists and we kind of came to the conclusion that without death we wouldn't feel that our life was so imminent as to make use of it, you know.
mhm.
Like if we could die tomorrow, whenever I hear about artists dying, I'm like, oh my God, I better get to work. Like I might die tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Eighth house. Yeah. It's an eighth house kind of feel.
That's so
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I love that point. So tragedy, yeah, I mean, they're taking this one incident that happened with this guy and they're making a whole memorial out of it, which I think reminds people definitely to stop being brutal, like stop having police brutality in number one. Um, and that prevents future things. And then I like what you're saying, like that people flourish through tragedy. Now, have you ever had a personal tragedy where you're like, no, thanks God, I don't need all that?
Nope. Mm-mm.
No.
Maybe in the moment because I was afraid that I didn't think I had the resources to get to the other side, but that didn't last very long.
Hmm.
I didn't. It didn't last very long. I don't know. I think my mom trained me. My Aries mom with Mars in the first. She trained me not to be a victim, and so it's like there's a feeling of like, oh man. I had this interesting thought related to this about I'm gaining a greater appreciation for how the elements manifest. Fire, earth, air, water, how they manifest in our charts. And I think of someone like me who has a lot of fire and a lot of air. There's a lot of moments, after the fact where I'm thinking, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Really? You don't think I wish I would have done XYZ? You're like, I shouldn't have done that.
But it's just this feeling of like after the fact.
Yeah.
That's when you take like you take notes and say, oh, but I imagine Earth people they do a lot of that before.
Uh,
Not that they're always accurate, but it's like a felt life experience that I feel like if I was talking to someone who had predominantly Earth in their chart, they wouldn't be able to relate. They'd say, well, why don't you just plan better? But someone who has a lot of fire to air, it's like before they even realize it, the action has already been taken.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the gift of fire. I feel like is taking action. Like Aries, for example, is a fire starter. It's like cardinal fire. So it's like supposed to start shit essentially. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this idea of what you just said, supposed to. So, the situation where someone, in this case, a woman has a lot of Aries in her chart and she's supposed to start shit, but her training as a woman says you're not supposed to start shit.
Oh yeah. What do you do about that? Yeah, and there's cultures like there's a book called Mars Passion or Strife written by Kenneth Miller where he talks about different cultures honoring Mars energy. Some cultures allow it, some cultures totally suppress it, and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so this is to me, this is what we're doing, right? Because we could say Mars, but we can go through all of the planets and we can look culturally, how does this culture express this planet? How does this culture, inhibit expression? How does this culture twist
Oh,
this expression? You know?
that's a really
I
good
think
idea. Huh.
Yeah, I think it's good because then people can, look at the culture they come from and they can get a sense of, oh, that's where this comes from.
Yeah, I think cultures that are closer to the equator even are more martial because it's hotter near the equator. Like, whereas if you were near the North Pole, you might have a more Saturnian culture or, it's cold. There's so much we could do here. Okay, this actually is a good segue into how we're about to have an online production meeting, strategic planning for our partnership that we have kind of developed over time. I mean, we knew each other before, but I really feel like we know each other a lot better now. But I do know that you're expensive, as you should be, and I happen to be expensive too. I'm $114 a reading. That's like the cheapest expensive person you ever met. I'm a crusty punk, Ricky. When they try to get me to charge 175, I'm like, no thanks, I'm too crusty.
No, I get it. I get it. That's how my teachers get it.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
no, but so us our time being so valuable, I think we should think about like how do we want to use our time going forward because we kind of got a lot out of what we really set out to do. I mean, I think we really made the impression that one could really think about culture and astrology um intertwined, like this. And so I mean I was thinking about like what we could do in the future. There's it's like I'm going to Norwalk this year and I was thinking we could collect guests at Norwalk where I could tell people this show exists. Like, would you like to be a guest on the show? We could collect guests. We could like hold off and then collect guests, or we could teach a class together. We've never done that. I mean, like, but
Wow.
but I don't know what's interesting to you since you're the one who's so expensive.
You're funny. Um, I, I like the idea of teaching a class together, and I also like the idea of looking for guests because I think the next step is really applying this to real life situations. And to me, the ideal guests are people that have been affected, right? And they have stories to tell. And I think You know,
Take
us
notes.
all together unpacking where astrology and culture overlap and manifest through real life experiences. I think that's powerful. And also that the guests walk away with a deeper sense of their identity and how their identity has been shaped.
So I love that what you're saying there. So it's like maybe we could look for people who have actually been affected by either having astrology readings that are lacking in cultural awareness or who have just had experiences in culture that maybe astrology could help. Yeah, I don't, okay, so, okay, guess walk away with a better understanding of identity. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think our next step is to like splash the astrology community with this concept. Not that we invented it. I mean, although I kind of do feel like when I was at the Portland School of Astrology, they kept throwing racism at me, and I started to throw intersections of race and astrology back at them. And then a few years later, Bear River came out at Norwalk doing a lecture on intersections of race and astrology. And I'm not trying to own any concept, but Ricky, I think I started that ball rolling. I really do, you know. Not that this is a contest, but I mean, I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is how could we saturate the astrology community with this? I mean, us doing our little show on my little station, I think we've gotten as far as we can get here, and then it's like, how do we now? I don't know. I'm not blocked, but I mean, do we have to wait till NORWAC to collect guests, or how does it? Could
No,
we?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know of any people who you think would benefit or like to be on the show?
Yeah, let me think about it. I do. Actually, I do. Yeah. Actually, I have a person in mind. Um, I think I think her parents are from Japan. I think she's Japanese.
Okay.
Um, she's funny about sharing information of her chart, but I can get her over that. She has a pretty intense chart. And so I think it would be great for both of us to pick her brain about how she thinks astrology and culture have overlapped in her life.
Ooh, I like that idea. We could pick someone's brain because we keep having people on here to pick our brains, but we could just start interviewing people about their experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we could get lots of cultures. We could get people from Japan, people from India. Like, well, I don't, I mean, in astrology is huge in India, but I mean, have we? Some people have looked into the cultural layer. Like they say that Indian astrologers ask different questions, and we could maybe, um, although. I just, and part of the problem of being a Caucasian person is like you literally don't, I don't know that many people who are multicultural, as far as, I mean, I know a lot of queer people. I feel like that's one of my multicultural inlay, like my Venn diagram, like goes all over queer people, but like, I don't know a lot of non-white astrologer, or I guess they don't have to be an astrologer even, right?
I mean, it'd be helpful if they're conversant. So if we're talking about Mars, like we don't have to spend 20 minutes describing what Mars is. So it would be it'd be helpful. It'd be helpful if they were conversant. Yeah.
Wait, do you know Celeste Brooks?
That that name sounds very familiar. I think I saw her on like a OPA mentorship email or something.
Yeah, she works at OBA. We should ask Celeste. She's amazing. I love her. And then also, I don't know if you know who Leslie Francis is, but she happens to be white, but she's definitely the Pluto and Leo generation, and she kind of holds down that she has like 5 planets in Aquarius, which she says online, so I can say that. But like basically, like she's a community builder. So maybe we could have her on to kind of talk about the Pluto and Leo generation and what they know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's. I think we're in a situation where I predict in the future as astrology becomes common knowledge, is that they'll retell history in through an astrological lens. And if we're looking, especially in the United States, of you know different cultural and ethnic groups have grown and evolved and struggled. It was happening with real people that were born in Pluto and Leo generation, Pluto and Cancer generation. So I think hearing their voice and their experience of it, I think will help us appreciate how we got here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could say that our larger goal is to kind of permeate astrology with the possibility of intersections of race and astrology being commonplace. Like where I want this layer to be like good astrologers know this layer, right? Like Doesville to the duh town. Okay.
So are you saying like in the future books, when it says Sun in Gemini, if you're white, Sun in
Oh,
Gemini, if you are black, Sun in Gemini, if you're Asian.
oh my God, the new cookbook. Oh my God, Ricky, that's so good.
Oh my god. Yeah. We'll get
Oh
in
my
so
God, but
much
the
trouble.
Neo cookbook.
We get in so much trouble for that. Oh,
No, you know why? Because we'd have to include like every culture that ever lived. But actually, that's actually not a bad idea for a book. That's actually a really good idea.
if it's an exploration, I think the book could be very useful.
Got it. Huh. Man, okay. Well, I'm putting that on my book radar. I mean, I don't like writing books,
Yeah.
but my chart will write a book in 2027, I believe. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
funny. So I have a son, Blaze. He's in Madrid right now, but he moved in with my wife and I when he was 14, before he turned 15. And he's a smart kid, but he's really taken up astrology. He's probably my best student. I mean, he like he puts a lot of energy into it. It's really cool. It's really cool to see him investing his trust fund in furthering his astrological education. It's like it's cool. And it's weird because he's aside from you, he's the only other person that I can and my wife, the only other person I can really talk to. They're not gonna look at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Wow.
Um,
No wonder you talk to me.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that secret's out.
That's
And one of the things I noticed with him and a lot of my students is they have a tendency to separate. It's weird. It's weird saying it, but they have a tendency to separate what they're learning about astrology and real life. And I feel like this is the same thing that creates the separation, between talking about culture and ethnicity and astrology. I almost feel like there's certain questions we don't bring to astrology because we might be disappointed with the answer.
yeah. Oh my God, that'd be a great episode. What are we scared to ask astrology?
Yes. Oh, yes. That would be a wonderful episode. And so he came here to visit a couple of weeks ago, and we spent 3 days, pretty much all day, like talking astrology. Um, and again, he's so good, and he really works on the things that we talk about. And so he's really working on integrating his real lived experience with what he's learning about his chart and about transits, etc. And and I think this is really what I want to get people to do more of. Is to me the whole point of astrology is that it should be able to help you solve problems. But if you don't bring the problems to the chart, then it can't help you.
Interesting. Yeah, it's fun to throw inquiries at a chart. Like if you're just like, what is my chart? How can it help me with money? How can it like
Yes, yes.
so hey, do you want to have Blaze on the show?
I'd love to have Blaze on the show. That's a
I
really
want to
good
meet
idea.
Blaze, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Blaze on the show. That would be cool biography for you, or like people meeting one of your children too. I
yeah,
think in show business, anytime you really give them the storyline of your life, they people love that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, after a warning, he's kind of a mini me, and he's kind of a mini
Oh
me.
yeah, I really need a warning for that.
I mean, you really do for this one. Like it's cool. Like he's literally tried to track the places that I've gone to have similar experiences to be able to relate to me better.
Well, he loves his dad.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his sun, moon, and rising?
He's a fourth house Cancer,
Oh,
and
is the
I
sun on your moon?
no, his sun is at the end of Cancer.
Okay.
Our moons sextile each other. Um, my moon is on top of his third house Saturn.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah,
Wow, I
Uh,
could see where he would root in his father there. Like, yeah, like Saturn and Cancer people really root in their family, and like that's cool. That's a really cool thing that you have his Saturn on your moon because you
yeah,
probably just really love him when he needs it because Saturn can feel, lacking there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely can.
Well, that means that my moon sextiles his moon as well, so I won't scare him too bad.
Oh, he'll love you. Yeah, he'll love you.
I think two of you is the right amount.
Yeah,
Yeah, having one of you this whole time has been kind of just like, can I get two of these?
yeah. He's a mini me. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Okay, so we have Blaze, Celeste Brooks, Leslie Francis, the Japanese girl,
Her
uh,
name is Linda.
Linda. Okay. And if
Yes.
she doesn't want to share her chart details, that's okay. We can just grill her.
No, she needs to get over that. That's my opinion, at least.
Come on, Linda.
Exactly.
Is she one of your students?
She's one of my students. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then the next step is when I'm at Norwalk, I will totally also find guests for us. I mean, we could do the thing where we don't necessarily meet every Wednesday, only when we have a guest, or we could pepper in that critical race theory book I have for the Wednesdays we don't have guests. It depends on how much of your expensive time you want to give to me.
Yeah.
I'll deal with
I
my
mean,
job. You
yeah.
probably want to see me more often.
I look forward to my Wednesdays.
Oh, really? That is so sweet. Because, it's one of those things where I was reading in a book recently where it was saying let commit to people but let them go. Like if they want to go, just let them go. And I was like that's how I
100%.
feel about you because you are so, coveted. It's like I'm here for you and this and us, but also like I'm not trying to like keep you on a leash either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't work anyway. But I
Oh,
appreciate.
oh, it wouldn't work. Oh, it wouldn't work if you kept me on a leash
well,
either, Ricky.
it's actually a compliment in how personally aware you are because I mean, for me, I feel like when I show up, I try to give everything because I know sometimes I ain't gonna be able to show up, and so
It's true. I have to be a
that
little bit more available in case you can make it, and I'm happy to do that. I mean, it's a win-win. My mom actually helped me ask you to work together because I was doing a lot of manifesting work around it in my notebook. Like I had to psych myself up to ask you, and I was talking to her about it. I was like, I really want to do this show with Ricky, and she was like, "Well, what does he need in life?" And she's like giving me all this coaching, But now she's your biggest fan,
yeah, yeah.
But no, I feel like I know what the value that you're giving us here. But I don't know, like I also just feel like we're friends. It's like, come on, can we just
But it's value. I get it, but it's value. But the value coming back to me is just as great as any value that people are getting.
That's cool because when a person has there's a certain amount like I have like okay, I'm gonna just be weird, but it's like I have enough money. Like people are just like, "Oh, can I pay you for this?" I'm like, "No." Like I'm really not for sale. I mean, if you really want the secret about me, it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you can I'll let you pay me for something if I want to.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
But
not really for sale.
yeah, yeah. I guess and that's funny because we were talking earlier about me being expensive, and I am for sale, but I'm really expensive, right? If I don't want to do, that's the thing about being for sale. If it's something I want to do, right? Give me a penny, right? Give me a high five.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
But
I
if it's
know.
something I don't want to do, right? I always ask myself, okay, how much would it take for me to feel good about doing this? And a lot of times it's too much. And I gladly tell the person the price that's too much. I don't want to do it anyway. And if they say okay, then I'm like, oh, let's do it.
Interesting. Well, I know that's so funny. It's like I'll do things for free. Like it's like I'm actually really expensive too, but then I'll do things for free that I want to do. It's like, but it has to be a win-win. Like I really believe in the seven habits of highly effective people, and like I only do win-wins. Like I
Yeah,
literally, if something becomes a win-lose, it goes like tomorrow. And that's I guess why both of us should have an out on this is to say if it ever becomes a win-lose, then one of us goes, but it's no hard feelings. It's like thank you for your time and like thank you for the great experience. But I I do think though that we could keep growing this so it just I don't know. I just feel like we're at a growth moment is what I'm saying. And it's like for us to keep being worth our own time, we want to take this bigger in a way, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk
Wait,
about oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, well, I said it already, but when you said that, the thought that popped into my mind is making it bigger is bringing it down to earth, and I think having guests where we're talking to other people again, I think we're grilling the guest, you know,
Ooh, we grill the guest.
yeah,
Huh. I never thought of that.
about their experience, and I say grill because some people are comfortable talking about race, and some people, most people, are very uncomfortable talking about it. And I find even the majority of the people that are comfortable talking about it, in my opinion, is I think they overstate their case. Where because I say that race is a big thing, gender is a big thing that affects all of us, but because it affects all of us, I think that's what allows us to talk about it philosophically. And we could bring in our own personal experiences, but this is something that's larger than us individually.
Interesting. Do you think gender is under our scope?
I think it should be,
Okay.
especially. I mean, the old books, you know, and a man's chart, you know, look at the moon and a woman's chart, but in astrology, oftentimes it's not addressed gender, and I'm like, you can't do that. I use this example over and over again, but if I'm talking to a woman and Mars is her strongest planet, oftentimes I'll go as far as to say you were born, you know, with a small disadvantage. Is who you are on the inside is going to be challenging for people to recognize from the outside.
If we open up to gender and like queer culture and stuff like that, like I have a lot of guests that we could grill about gender, the culture of different genders and queer culture and then like I and now I'm thinking now that you've opened it up, like I have a guy who is he's he's 73 and he's got that Uranus and Cancer square Neptune and Libra. Do you know that signature?
Yeah,
Where they're really anti-oppression. He's like anti-racist, you know, and like he might be cool to have on the show to grill about what his generation of anti-oppressionists know about this stuff. I mean, we could open it up to lots of guests. I never thought about us grilling the guests. That's actually really, I don't know. I guess they would all have a different benefit to the show, right?
exactly, exactly. Well, because for, you know, just generally the way I look at a chart is the chart is showing us essentially what's inside of someone, right?
Yeah.
And some of those things that are inside make their way out,
Yeah.
and some of them don't. You know, so I think of someone, you know, inside powerful Uranus and they're anti, but because they grew up in the deep South, right? That was didn't really get a chance to blossom, flourish, and manifest outwardly. And so instead of saying something and fighting, they were quiet.
Interesting. The Deep South, that's a different culture too. Wow, you're really opening it up. Okay, so fascinating. I mean, we could be asking people about their family dynamic layer and like what their family, you know, well, I guess family layer does has culture enmeshed in it because your family has a certain culture.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. As long as we keep that strain active, I think we can definitely dive into family.
Okay.
From the context of your family is influenced by culture. Your parents came from somewhere.
Interesting. Okay, cool. All right. So maybe you could make a list of people, you know, who you think would be good. I'll start making a list of people and yeah, we'll go guest core.
Yeah, I
Okay,
love
cool.
it.
I love that. And then how about on the weeks that we don't have a guest, we'll go into critical race theory?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Guest core or critical race theory. Now let's talk about teaching a class. How many people come to your classes? Is that a weird question?
No, anywhere between 5 to 10.
Okay, yeah, I'm about the same.
Yeah.
Um, you know, getting people at classes is not easy, honestly. But also I like to keep it small. You know, I've been kind of talking to God about this because I'm like, why don't I have 50,000 views? And then, you know, I keep thinking, I think God wants me to be small and accessible. You know, it's like if I had that many views, no one could even get to me or talk to me, and that would be not really what I'm trying to do anyway, you know?
Yeah, I think part of it is the majority of people aren't ready for what you're saying yet.
Maybe. Yeah, we I
Oh,
my target market is definitely advanced astrologers actually. I like but not that I can't work with newbies. I just like the people who are advanced. Um, but you teach newbies, right?
um, if I'm working with a newbie, my preference is to do so. I do like 3 day intensives at my house, and so I had a couple. I had a couple, a wife and a husband, and they came not knowing anything about astrology, and they stayed for 4 days. By the fourth day, we were downstairs. We were downstairs at breakfast, and we were looking at the charts, and it wasn't permanent, but after 4 days, they were fluent.
Wow.
They were fluent. We could have a conversation about their kids, and I could say your moon is on top of your daughter's Mars. And that could mean something to her, that she could have insights and share back to me and give me insights about that placement.
Wow.
So if I'm working with the newbie, I want to like get them indoctrinated as soon as possible.
Wow, that's intense. That's like football training camp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm an intensive kind of person because I think you can just get so much done and you can get over the hump, right? Because like I said, it wasn't permanent. Like they got confused the minute they left, but it's in there, and it's just about the template is in there. It's just about putting the bricks
Yeah.
back in.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so let me tell you about the classes that I've done like collaboratively at the Moira Press. So we have one this Saturday. It's for 2 hours. We're doing the eighth and 12th houses. And that one has three people registered now, but there's like three other people who are talking about being registered. It's like $35 for 2 hours. Um, but they're fun. I mean, they're fun as shit. Like, but we could do a class over at the Moira Press and just see how many people come. I mean, I can't promise you, I don't
Yeah.
numbers, but it would be a cool way to collaborate that we've never done. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Honestly, I truly, honestly do not care about numbers. I
Really?
care because I don't think that what we are saying is necessarily for people that are old enough right now. I think it's for later. So for me, it's just about creating the content, having the conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because in
cool.
a digital world, those conversations are there forever.
Yeah. Well, and we save all the classes on the school store so they can buy them later and you would get kicked down from anything that's bought. But I think it would be I'm really interested to run us on the crowd and see what happens. Like so let's talk topics because we like you said, race and astrology isn't the most popular topic. What topic would you want to teach together?
Um, Something that people can't get anywhere else.
Hmm.
Something that's uncomfortable for people.
We could do sexuality and astrology.
Yeah,
That would be kind of a racy class with Ricky in it because you're not afraid to talk about sexuality. Like I've noticed that working with you, and you're not creepy either. You know what I mean? You're like a good professor for that topic.
practice.
Practice. Well, I think you're cool. You know what I mean? Like I think when you're a cool teacher, you can kind of get away with that too. But I mean, this might be something that we want to think about for a few weeks, obviously, because I think, topics choosing a good topic. I could also ask the crowd, I could literally on my Facebook page say, Ricky and I are considering doing some classes together. Are there any topics you guys would like to see? And they often respond to that. So maybe
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. I like that a lot.
Okay, ask the crowd. Um, okay, and then you could invite your students and maybe we could have a meld of the schools that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, ask the crowd about class. Okay, cool. I'm excited. But no, you're not. How often are you around on Saturdays or would Saturdays from 1:30 to 3:30 work for you?
It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss, but it's not. I try to keep my weekends open so I can do things like this.
Okay, so we would just have to schedule it and then you would. just
Yeah,
you would be able to commit. Okay, cool.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll take charge on culling the crowd about that because I really that's what there's actually some rubric for doing classes where you actually it's like there's something teach blah 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 assess but cull it's like you ask the students too and it's like that's when I learned to start asking the students what do you guys want to hear us talk about
Yeah.
because I mean it would be cool to do something where their charts are involved like the race and astrology is an interesting topic for a YouTube show but we would want to do something where we can literally help them with their charts, you know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like the class we're doing this weekend is 8th and 12th houses advanced considerations, which is a cool topic. And that came from the students themselves asked for that topic. Um, so okay, well, I'll see what they want from you because I'm really curious to see how many of them, because a lot of them have been watching your show, and I'm just curious to see how many of them want to get in the room with you and really like have you teach them, you know.
Yeah.
So okay, can we talk about like the future? Well, do you have anything you want to talk about in our production meeting?
Um, no, not related to the topic. No.
Okay. Well, the other thing I imagine is real life events that we could do together. Like we could go to a philosophy conference together or do something crazy where we actually meet up in a town and like Andy and Ricky go do something. No, I don't know if that would ever work for our schedules, but like that could be a little production in and of itself of what do these professors go out and do together. But I mean, or maybe we could try to do a talk at Kepler, a class at I mean, I don't know, the world is our oyster essentially. I mean, what I've learned from working together is that we can absolutely do anything we want together because our charts are so compatible that it's really a non-issue, you know.
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to do as an astrologer that you would have to go in person to do? Are you going to go to UAC?
I think I mean, there's that, but I also think of a philosophy conference or a psychology conference or a metaphysical conference, and like just showing up there. Because my sense is, like we're astrologers, but there's something unique about the way that we approach it that I think would be useful, and I think we both can speak astrology to people who don't speak astrology. So I think it'd be cool to team up to do something like that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I would never. It's funny because I went to a history of science conference in San Diego, and that's
Yeah,
where I learned about teleology, which helped me in all my translations. I mean, like I really the field of astrology is better because I went to that conference, you know. So I guess if you're ever ready for some self-development, because you know, in the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, you know about sharpening the saw. Have you heard that one?
I have it.
Okay, so one of the things that highly effective people do, which you and I are in that like group, is they basically keep growing mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So it's like, you know, I go swimming 3 times a week, you know, I do all the physical things and like, you know, but like I try to learn something new every day. Part of our Wednesday talks is that's me sharpening the saw, is like I learn from you and that makes me a better teacher. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So for us to go to one of these conferences would be us basically sharpening the saw. You know, would be like, can we become better? You know?
yeah, yeah. I love it.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, we could take some cool photos too. Anyway, if something ever comes up where you're like, I want to get away from the weekend, or if we find something online, you know, like feel free to ask me and maybe I'll like up and go and you know, um, yeah, I won't even bring my bodyguard.
Oh wow. So am I going to be expected to be the bodyguard then? Or?
I was gonna say you can bodyguard me from yourself.
No, perfect.
No, I won't need a bodyguard because no one will know who I am.
Yeah.
People think I'm delusional because I have a bodyguard. Isn't that funny? Do you have a body?
Really? Do I have a bodyguard?
Yeah.
This one and this one.
I actually have 3 bodyguards. I have 3 bodyguards.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I only need them sometimes. Like, for example, 2 of them work on the internet. So, like, if I do events and there's like things happening, like I get bodyguarded on the internet,
Yeah.
and then I have to take one with me to Norwalk because I can't. It's more crowd control. Like I can't be nice and do crowd control at the same time.
Ah, yes.
You
I
know.
do have a bodyguard. My wife, she's got Mars and Cancer in the seventh. She's like a little pit bull.
Oh, nice.
Don't mess with me.
My bodyguard is my boyfriend, but I actually, when I was dating him, I negotiated. I said, I'm looking for a man who's also my bodyguard that to be my husband. And he was like, he's a triple earth. He's a Virgo, Capricorn, Virgo, and he's like, I'll do it.
Just tell me what to do.
And he has Mars and Cancer. Get this, he has Mars and Cancer in the 11th, oppose the moon in Capricorn, square Pluto.
Wow.
He's tough as shit. He's very intellectual too. Like a lot of what I need is intellectual bodyguarding. Like for example, if someone does a bait and switch on me, I don't know if that ever happens to you, where they like make me agree to something and then they switch it on me. Like he'll be like, oh fuck no, like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
does deals with stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is like you and I don't even need all that with you because I don't know, I would punch you if I had to.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So we got several things coming up here, development points. Anything else you can think of or that we haven't thought of yet?
Hmm. I'd like to have conversations about with people, maybe it's a class, I don't know, about the future.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my perspective, but I feel like people are I don't know. I just don't have enough conversations with people about their vision for the future. It's like a lot of people are so downtrodden about what's going on now that it's difficult for them to allow things to be okay.
Wow. Hey, would you want to do, and I've never done classes like this, but we could do like Neptune going into Aries, Uranus going into Gemini classes. That would be conversations about the future. What do you think of that?
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. I could be way off, but my imagination is if that's what we wanted the class to be, we might get to it, but because I think the first thing we'd have to deal with is people's attitude about the present to clear the way to have an attitude about the future.
Interesting. That is so rad because you're like a super well, I'm a future too, like right? Like super strong people are strong at creating a brighter future. Like I never let the future mess with me.
Yeah,
Like someone gives me a bad prediction, I'm like, yeah, no thanks.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but I hear what you're saying is like basically we could use those classes to kind of tear down fears people have about the current state and the future and then rebuild something kind
Exactly, exactly. You got it, 100%. You got it.
of.
You know,
Do
because what I found since I started, integrating astrology into my life, I'm not saying that I can predict exactly what's going to occur in the future, but I can be close enough where I feel like everything I'm doing have a sense is meaningful and moving closer and closer to a future that resonates with what I would like to see occur. And I think the more people that are using their energy to build the future, then it doesn't fall on our heads like everyone's afraid it's going to.
yeah. Oh my God, I just realized we could do Neptune going into Aries, Uranus going into Gemini, Saturn going into Aries, and Jupiter going into Cancer. That's four options for
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool series, like Ricky and Andy, what not predict the future. We could just say into the future with Ricky and Andy or something like I
Yeah.
don't know. I would love to try that actually because we don't have anything like that.
Oh, I think that's big level future, but I think of even people's personal futures. Oh wow.
Like what would that look like? Like we could do a class where like develop or like
I
looking
I,
at
I did a class. I did a class like this. Um again, we did a retreat, so we did it over 3 days, and on the first day I gave the assignment, and then I kind of helped everyone fill out the assignment. But I said, look in your charts and find a transit or a progression coming up in the next 2 years. All right. And based off of what you know about your chart and based off of how your chart is manifested up to this point in your life, make a prediction.
we could call it freeing your future with Ricky and Andy.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. it's needed. It's so needed.
That's a cool idea for a class. I never heard of anything like that. That's okay, okay. That's cool. That's cool.
I just see Blaze doing it. I see him creating his future. He's got some ease. He's got a trust fund and he's young, but still, I see him doing it, and I see it happening, and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
right? Whoa. I, I
Well,
think
isn't it?
I think the term "sky's the limit." I think we can, as an astrologer, I want to steal that. You know,
You can have it.
yeah,
Yeah. No one
yeah,
owns that phrase.
yeah. Oh, good.
Well, it's so interesting people who have all the money they could want. It's like studying how to make a happy life for them. Because they say money can't buy you happiness, but it's like having too much money could, if you let it, ruin your happiness. You know what I mean? And
100%.
that's cool that you're working with him to be I don't know what you call it, like have a
I
nice.
told them, like, the part of, like, I said, with money you can buy almost anything, right? And I do think you can buy happiness.
Yeah.
I think, especially if you're clear on your chart and you get a sense of, a better word than happiness is fulfillment, and you get a sense of what things are going to be fulfilling to you, and you invest your time, your energy, your resources, including money, in that direction. There's a greater chance that that direction is going to manifest.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like wielding your money correctly would be how you buy happiness. Like if you really need to be touched, buy yourself a massage. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe money, well, from a development theorist, like I believe money does buy happiness. Like when my daughter has these manias where she has like Mars and Cancer, sextile Saturn and Virgo, she gets all these like I gotta make beads. Like if she doesn't have her beads, man, she's not gonna be as happy. Like
Yeah.
you make sure she has her shit.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I got two kids with two or more, three or more planets in the second house, and so I've taken like special interest in making sure they got things that they need. But I also talk to them about, don't just get things because your friends have it, right? Try to pick things that have value to you. That when you look, my son, my youngest, second youngest son, he collects baseball cards, football cards, and I said, if you're gonna have a card, like, make sure when you look at it that it does it gives you something. you
Yeah,
know
wow. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, that's so cool. I feel like your kids are really lucky to have you as their dad because you're a philosopher.
yeah.
Like I know that you are also like full of money and stuff, but you're really full of wisdom, and I think that's my favorite part about you.
And they appreciate it, like when I'm watching them, they don't even ask me for food.
They're like, my dad doesn't cook. No.
Oh, yes.
Okay, that freeing your future, the sky's not the limit. No.
Yes.
The sky's not even
Well,
the sky's not even the limit. That's funny. Okay, well that gives us a lot of stuff to do. So how can I best if I want to schedule classes with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Because I know if I email you during the week, you don't necessarily get those and
text, just text.
just text you. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm.
Awesome. All right, we have 6 minutes. Anything else you want to talk about? You want to see a cool
Oh yeah, I
keychain?
do want to. I want to talk about. I don't think it was on air, but
Look at this
you.
cool Scorpio keychain.
Oh wow, those are
They
really cool.
got diamond skulls on them.
Oh wow,
So
what are those beads? What kind of beads are those?
yeah, they're just plastic beads, but these diamond skulls came off my goth sandals.
Oh wow, so bad.
Sorry.
Yeah. We were talking about my Super Bowl prediction, and I asked the question, like, is there anything in the in the text about prediction anxiety?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know you needed a little producer talk there.
yeah, it was great. It was great. Um, so yeah, so because at least my understanding of orrery, it's pure divination, you know, and it's strengthened by someone's grasp of the astrological language. And so it's kind of it's a new experience for me. And so one of the things that my teacher taught me is when you cast an orrery chart, that it's radical if there's something that jumps out to you that that makes you feel like, oh, this chart is relevant to the question I'm asking.
Oh, interesting.
And so when the question I asked was, are the Chiefs going to win again? You know, and then I cast the chart, and on the ascendant, Leo was on the ascendant at 29 degrees. And so some astrologers would say if 27, 28, 29 degrees are on the ascendant, then you don't read the chart. But to me, because of the nature of the question I asked, the message that I got was the end of a dynasty, the end of a dynasty. Um, so, and then I had the sun that rules the ascendant was in detriment in Aquarius. So, the first indication, again, it's not a thorough analysis, but the first indication is no, the Chiefs are not going to win. Right, and then Uranus was conjunct the midheaven, and so and this is divination in astrology. It's fascinating because the idea is to step back and get the message and convey it, but sometimes it's hard to step back because what we know or our emotions get in the way. I think a lot of astrologers experience this when trying to look at a chart of a child or a parent or someone really close to them. It's like it's hard to separate what we know from what we see. Um, and so because there's so much hype around the hype, I should have known. There's so much hype around the Chiefs. I said my prediction of shocking is I went towards Uranus, and the game is going to go back and forth, and then we're going to think that the Chiefs are going to win, and then in the end, the Eagles are going to win, right? But I watch, and I didn't watch the game, but I was sitting here working on the computer, and my wife comes in, and she said the Eagles are up 24-0 or something, right? And I was like, it's shocking, right? It's shocking, and also the sense of what happened to the Chiefs is dark Jupiter, too much hype, But the dark Jupiter, the too much hype, it's like we don't know that it's too much hype because we've won the last two, right? Right, we're probably gonna just win. We're probably gonna win again. And even when I was talking to people about the game, the sense was I bet against the Chiefs the 2 previous years. I'm not gonna make the same mistake. Right, that was the feel around it. Is the too much hype? So it was a good experience, and at least in my mind, it's urged me to continue doing more because I think as an astrologer, orrery, it's like sharpening the sword. Is that the saw?
Yeah,
sharpening the saw. That's what it feels like. It's because now as I looking at someone's natal chart because of the orrery work, like I'm making connections and new perspectives or useful perspectives are coming into my awareness. So good.
So you got it right?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't do a lot of horror because of that divination anxiety. Like you
Oh
said.
man, it's real.
Oh my God, yeah. The years of
real.
being a psychic, like I had too much of that. But what I want to say, I like about your prediction is you talked about some really interesting stuff, like the hype part of the equation and stuff. It's like an interesting prediction isn't just like yes or no, Chiefs,
Yeah.
it's like and also all this stuff. It's kind of like how you added the story of the game with some astrology.
Yeah.
I really like what you did there. So you get a production A+ for your prediction.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the help again. But
Oh,
the anxiety is real, but if it's part of the production, right, it's part of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ricky Williams gets scared. That's a really good episode.
Oh, I'm scared all the time. I was talking to Blaze about it. He was like, "You don't ever see." I was like, "I'm nervous, anxious all of the time."
Really?
Yeah.
You act very calm.
Well, I just don't pay attention to it.
Oh, that's fake it till you make it or whatever. Look at all of our notes that we have. I took notes on all of the things we talked about. So we have 4 pages of notes.
Nice work.
And another technique for being highly effective is to be proactive. So I'll be emailing you about, or I'll be texting you about classes.
Proactive. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm your astrology producer.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a producer,
Yeah, I do.
There's only one female producer for every 97 males.
What does a producer do? I mean, I know they produce, but what does that mean?
what the reason that I would say it's a development artist. Like, you know, like when we started talking, it's like I knew you were an astrologer and everything like that, but it's like I'm here to take you to the next level for who you are as an astrologer. So it's like we did all these videos, we introduced you to the crowd, which was a production in of itself. And then now at Norwalk, I'll be talking about, I think I'm going to make little QR code cards of our show. You know, I'll be telling everyone at Norwalk about the show. You know, maybe someday we'll teach at Kepler together. Like basically, I'm here to bring you higher in astrology.
That'll be great. I need some help with that.
It's you know what it is? It's my sun square Mars. It's like, and I have that moon in Pisces square Neptune. So I'm a visionary. Like I see the circus of life. Like you are a magical creature in the circus with me. But then my sun square Mars is like pushes like what's next? What's next? Let's go. You know. So it is very much a very producers are bosses in the creative arts. It's like
Yeah. That's, I mean, from another perspective, that's good use of Sun Mars energy
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
because it's not about you, right? And I think with Saturn and Mars to make them behave better is like you have to commit them to other people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. My Mars is in the second, and it squares my sun in five, six, and it's interesting because like I push for artists to be able to make money. Like I know it's not about money, but I do help astrologers become solvent monetarily. That's part of what my production cycle does. It's like, I want you to be able to make more money doing your life path and purpose in this current iteration. But
Into that.
and like it could go so far as to we produce the apps so that astrologers everywhere have the app. I mean, think about it as I'm here to take you as high as you can go in astrology, as high as I can get you. Like not that you're your own producer. I mean, come on, let's be real. But
I don't know. Like producing is not really my thing. I just want to show up.
yeah, because you know how I had topics for everyone and then I have guests on the show. That's me kind of being, I hate to overuse the word producer, but it's like you kind of are the boss of the creative program. And yeah, but yeah, I can't believe you don't already have like 10 of them.
Yeah, produce and abuse me, please.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No problem. I
Yeah.
got consent, everyone. It's right here on TV.
Yeah.
All right, darling, I'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye bye.